here, get a whole nother bit of cloud. And you notice we save this dark area into my studio. I'm already getting splashed on the face. I can feel it. I can feel it. Just again, on the tip of the brush. You don't have to go all the way down to the metal, right? Even if you think your name suggestion might not be chosen, it could. Hey guys, welcome back to the studio. It's Paint with Josh. You look fantastic. Your hair almost looks as good as mine, don't you think? Well, let's take a second to look at this 16 by 20 inch gorgeous Devil's Tide Seascape. It turned out fantastic. You're obviously excited about painting this one. That's why you clicked on the link. So check the description down below. Make sure you get all the colors you need. Make sure you get your canvas nice and wet. Get ready to throw some paint on it. We're gonna do it just like this. Hey there, welcome back. You just caught me putting on the liquid clear. If you don't know how to put on BobRoss liquid clear, or linseed oil, or a comparable thing, first you gotta make sure your canvas is tight and easy, Josh. That'll help. And then you just take a very small amount. You don't need a whole lot. And what I like to do is just drop a little bit in different areas, and that way we're not working it all from one really wet section all the way across the canvas. And that sort of ensures that we'll have an even, very light, even coat, right? So we'll just crisscross back and forth, just like this. Right? Just going back and forth, almost making a little figure eight. Crisscross, 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 and it just covers the entire canvas, back and forth. And the faster you get, or the more times you do it, the faster you'll be able to do it, right? So, bing, bang, boom, this, that, the other. How was your week? How is your Wednesday going? Because this is the tutorial. This is actually painting number 666. Can you imagine? 666 paintings. I hope this one turns out good. So if you already know how to put the liquid clear on, make sure you give me a thumbs up before you scroll forward. And you can scroll to whatever point of the video you need to, but some people don't know how to put on liquid clear, or some people need a refresher course on how to do it, right? So this is how I do it. Now we're going to get it across the whole canvas, and then we're going to grab a little bit of paper towel, and we're going to wipe it all off. Just need 1 or 2 squares is all. We're going to come through, we're going to wipe it, a little bit of pressure, get all that excess clear off, right? The canvas is still very wet. Still very wet. Maybe kind of difficult to see, but it is wet. All we're doing is removing any little bit of excess that's on there, right? And you get a fair amount to come off. So, let's just go through a few things we have today. Just got to thank Anita for a few wish list items we got. She got us some very cool paints, a lot of stuff. This one's from Claire, my biggest fan. She wrote in the wish list thing. Stuff from Linda. Guys, we're almost out of white. Linda just got me this. Look at how much white we go through. It's crazy. Got black from Better Butternut. She's awesome. Another one from Anita. You guys are great. I love you. Thank you so much for all the wish list items. It really helps me paint and create all these free videos, right? So let's go through the colors we have. Bright red. I actually need some more bright red and some more white. So we have bright red, dark sienna, Van Dyke brown, dark sienna, cad yellow, phthalo green, phthalo blue, alizarin crimson, midnight black, and titanium white. We're going to be painting number 666 tonight. So we decided to go with this kind of red, bloody-looking palette. If this is your first Paint with Josh video, make sure you tell us where you're watching from and what's your favorite sandwich, or write it in the emojis, use the emojis in the comments. All sorts of things. People like the sushi, burgers, pizza, right? What's your favorite one? Write it in the comments right now. Oh, we had another thing too. This is from Jessica Morgan, brand new 1-inch brush. I'm not going to use this one today, just because I love how clean they are, right? Here's a brand new one too. We might use this one. Let's see. So excited for the end of the week, and we get to do some painting. Now, I want to use a 2-inch brush here. Like I said, we've gone through all the colors. Tell us where you're watching from, what time it is where you are, and we're about to paint painting number 666. It's going to be just like a red, bloody seascape. So come up with a great name. What's the name that you're thinking? And who knows, maybe we had a little bit of red. I mean, it's going to be red everywhere, but let's say we had a little bit of red up in here. That could be our water. And all this is just some undercolor, right? And then when we go over it with our white paint, it's really going to show through. So save some of these dark areas and brighter areas, right? Watch, we'll let it go up into the sky too. Just blend it out. You don't even need it to be straight, right? Just really get your frustrations out for the day. Just get them out for the day. Let's go into our crimson. right? Because we want to keep it nice and red, and the crimson is a darker, deeper red. So let's come in from the top. You don't have to touch everywhere, but anywhere that you don't have some color on is really going to show bright when you hit it with your white paint, right? And I'm not going to do a complete red. Maybe we'll have like a little bright, an area of blue in here. Anywhere where we don't have any paint, we can throw some other color in, right? Take a little bit of our crimson down in here, maybe grab a little more crimson and just put it back into our water. And that way we have differences in the red, even in the water. It's gonna be fantastic. All these different colors, right? Now let's get a little bit of our brown. Haven't washed the brush one single time yet. We're gonna go into our brown and come in here. Maybe we'll have like a big old bit of beach where the water's crashing down upon, right? And in order to have that, we gotta have a little brown. So, and I understand these may be hard to see for right now because they're transparent colors, right? The red is obviously very easy to see, but if you blend out that crimson enough, you're not really gonna be able to tell where it is on the canvas, in real life anyway, right? With all these crazy lights, you can definitely see it's all over the place here. And the only thing we're gonna do is make it brighter. We're gonna add white paint, and we're really gonna watch it brighten up. It's gonna be fantastic. Well, we got a little bit of red in there. Let's go, you know what? I love the phthalo green color, but when you mix that with the red, it makes this gray. And that's not what we want in our sky. So let's have a little bit of blue. Maybe we'll chuck a little blue section up into here, right? And that way, whatever mixes with our white paint, and when we go over it with our white and it starts to show, we'll have all these little differences in color back here. And maybe this crazy looking cloud in our sky. Ooh, it's starting to look ominous already. So let's wash the brush. If you don't know how to wash the brush, I have tons of YouTube shorts and TikTok videos and Facebook Reels, all on how we wash the brush. So my paint thinner cup is about this full today. I just filled it up, right? And now I'm only gonna dip the brush maybe 1/4 inch into the thing, just the tip of the bristles, and watch how much paint thinner comes out just from dipping it into the tip, right? Now I'm gonna shake all that stuff loose, keeping it in the cup. That way it doesn't spray all over your house. Right, we're gonna shake it into a trash can, and then I'm gonna bring out the old beater bucket. Right now, just from shaking it, there's no more drippiness, but the brush is still very wet. Look at how wet that is. Oof, that's why we wear gloves, by the way. And people ask, why do you wear gloves? This is why. So we have an old bucket, a 5-gallon bucket. I have a trash bag, and then inside is a golf ball basket. You can see down there. Can everybody see in class, right? Now that just gives me a little surface, or a few little surfaces where we can beat the devil out of the brush and it comes out nice and clean. So, nice, easy way, cheap, effective way, not ineffective. Ineffective means it doesn't work, but it's a cheap, effective way to clean your brushes off and, you know, have it stay cool in your house. Okay, let's see what we're gonna do. Let's grab up, if you guys don't know, I'm literally making this up as we go. I have no reference photo. I make them up right out of my head. You know, I do a fair amount of seascapes. I like the crashing left wave. It's just easier for the motion of my hand to create that shape. But yeah, we're just literally making it up. So let's decide, maybe out into our sky, we'll have a little bit of white paint on the edge of the brush, maybe a little bit of yellow just to brighten up, and we'll get all these little differences in color back there, right? So just like that. Don't need it all over the brush, right? One side is good. And then maybe we'll come up here and just across just as it goes into that blue, you get all these little different colors out here. Oh, it's fantastic. All right, drop some of that other color down in here. Maybe mix some down over there. Just leave some area for it to grow, right? Ooh, that looks kind of like a mouth. What if we did like maybe there was an eyeball up here or something, some sort of something out there, right? Some sort of devilish face, something. We're gonna take our 1-inch brush just like this, and it just proves we're making this up as we go. And take the 1-inch brush, gonna come over here and just start making circles and blending it down. And that white and yellow are gonna blend in and mix with all the other colors that are underneath it, right? Those reds, the crimson, the blue in certain areas. Maybe that blue and yellow turns a little bit green in certain areas, which is okay, right? Look at all these little swipes. All these little differences in color. We always talk about differences in color. If this is your first Paint with Josh video and you're like, never heard this differences in color thing, you'll hear it a lot if you stick around, right? I'm gonna go back and wash this brush off because I just can't seem to speak today. I don't know why the words won't come out of my mouth. Let's go back and brighten it up, right? Let's come into the white and the yellow. Gorgeous. Didn't add any yellow, just whatever was here. That way we'll have differences, right? Maybe back into here, get a whole nother bit of cloud. And you notice we save this dark area. As this blends down into that deep darkness, and you pop another section of white out in here, it's gonna look like another cloud is in front, right? Keeping it bright where every other area is dark is where you wanna pop in your next little bright area. Right? It's fantastic, fantastic. And don't let the bright areas get too close, right? That's not what you want. Again, coming in with our 1-inch brush, very lightly, very softly, different. Sometimes we go clockwise and spin them up this way. Sometimes we're going counterclockwise and we're pulling them down. All depends. What do you want yours to look like, right? And try not to let them touch too much. If they become too close together or one becomes too much of the same color, it's not as bright anymore. It's not going to stand out. Just like that. Cool little bit of sky, a little bit of seascape. What's happening up here? Mix it in, but don't let the colors touch too much, right? You got all this little depth, all this difference. Just fantastic. Oh, I love it. Oh, it's fantastic. Okay. Right, now we've come down about halfway on our canvas, and we can imagine maybe our horizon is back here. But I really want to have a big wave for this one, right? I've done the Great Wave Off Kanagawa painting, which is one of my favorite tutorials. You can check it out on my YouTube page, youtube.com/paintwithjosh. But we've never done one that's usually a lot of, there's some back ocean and different things. I want to do one with just like one massive crashing wave and maybe nothing behind that we can even see. All right, so let's wash off the brushes. We'll get some clean tools. Got to get clean tools. Everybody tell me where you're watching from, what time it is, what's your favorite sandwich. Hit me with your comments. Use those emojis. You guys are great. Love you. Make sure it's Follow Me February. Make sure you guys are all giving me a follow. I'd really appreciate it. Now we're going to load up this white and yellow. All right, let's go back to the yellow. I'm going to bring it back over here. Loading up the brush. Right? Not necessarily loading up every single bristle all the way to the end, but getting a fair amount of paint on it because I want to come in with this big crashing wave. And so we have to decide where's our wave going to, maybe we'll have just a little bit of ocean out here. So we're going to take that on the end of the brush. And again, we're just making this stuff up as we go. Start to drop it out there and it starts mixing in with those different colors. And you start brightening different areas. Leaving little darknesses, leaving bright areas, coming down. Always at an angle though. A little bit thicker on this side, skinnier on this side, right? That's the secret. I'm like the masked magician that gives away all the painter's secrets, right? All the secrets that pros don't want you to know to help you get better. Because that's what it's about, having fun. If you're having fun and you're making a painting, it's so much more fun when it turns out good, right? And so just to know those few little tricks, by the way, this is a 1-inch brush and we're taking it right here, just softening the paint a little bit, stretching it out, trying not to get rid of all of those cool little things, right? Look at that little dip right there. We're gonna use that, right? Didn't plan on it, but we're gonna use it. It's gonna be amazing. Look at this blood red tide. Remember, hit me with your comments. What would you name this painting? You can name it right now. As we're painting it, you can name it. And also, as we're painting it, you're able to buy this painting. It's painting number 666. It's going to be in my Etsy store, paintwithjosh.etsy.com. Also, if you like candles, just a shameless plug, thelondoncandleco.etsy.com. She's got great candles over there. But paintwithjosh.etsy.com, you can buy this painting before it's even finished. If you go over there and you search for the listing TikTok in my store, there's a little search bar. You search for TikTok, and that'll bring up painting number 666, and you can buy this one before anyone else. So now remember, we have to be able to feed some water back to this line back here. So we can't start too high, otherwise it's gonna be, out of whack. So let's come up over here. Maybe we'll come way up above into the clouds almost. Right, that's gonna be the crasher. We've never had a crasher so big before. Right, I'm gonna take the same brush, haven't washed it, haven't done anything. I'm gonna grab and just kind of make little flicks, little flick. And the longer we go, the longer the flicks are gonna get, right? And they're really gonna come crashing down onto the beach. Just giant. Look at all this section we're gonna have for our wave back here. Now this guy, gonna come down right underneath there, right? You have to have that little area that we can feed back. It helps give us depth. So, and then I always talk about what I call an S-shaped curve. So we're gonna really stretch out this S right here. And you may be able to see what I'm talking about when we get there. So again, same directional pulls, maybe flip the brush over, drop a little bit brighter paint. And then the more we go down, the longer the poles get, but you got to make sure they're at that right angle, right? If they don't look correct, your water's going to look like it's all over the place. And maybe over here, we change the angle. Maybe we hit right there and start going up this way, right? Just dropping small amounts of paint onto the canvas. This wave's about to fly right off into my studio. I'm already getting splashed on the face. I can feel it. I can feel it. The wind-blown spray. Look at this. Right? Amazing. Amazing. Now, we're going to switch fan brushes to a smaller brush. Because a lot of times this bigger brush, they start to fray, and then you get those little, those little annoying, look at that, there's one right there. Little annoying bristles. Let's see if we can do this one-handed. Boom. They kind of stick out, and they may strike your painting at an area you don't want, right? So, I don't use brand new tools on every painting, but let's use at least a little bit of a smaller one. Less used, less weathered. All right, we're gonna come into that white and yellow again. And come over here. And remember, all you guys watching on TikTok, you're gonna be able to rewatch this in 2 weeks. It's gonna come out as a tutorial, zoomed in. Every time we come up and touch the canvas, it's gonna zoom in, and it's gonna be fantastic. So go to youtube.com/paintwithjosh, and you'll be able to subscribe for free. It's just like following me over there, and you'll get a notification when I drop new videos. Every Wednesday we drop a new video, and then we do live shows on Saturday. It's wicked. So here we go. We're gonna grab the yellow and the white on the brush, just like this. I'm gonna come up here and just start flicking it back. Small little flicks, right? Leading all the way back to this other light line right here, right? It's not white, but it's kind of pink. So the point is we don't want the color to touch that color. We wanna leave a little bit of darkness in there, right? So you start flicking back. You don't want them to all be the same. So you start flicking a little more or a little less, a little more pressure, a little less pressure. They start sliding back this way, going back over here. Fabulous, right? You can start to see that water is about to come and roll up. Don't worry about it up here, right? Wherever your back wave crosses over, that's all the water you need to really fill backwards, because you're not going to see it, right? You're not above the wave looking down. We're right out here like where it's about to crash onto us. So a couple little more flicks, right? Little differences in our lines so it's not all the same. And when you leave that little line of darkness back there, that becomes the shadow for that bit of back water. Now let's take our same fan brush. It's all gross and nasty, still has all that color on it. And we can come in here and we'll start to brighten up the eye, right? Remember, you guys watching on TikTok, if you're watching on YouTube, you're watching on Facebook, make sure you drop the name. What would you name this painting? This is your painting to name. So name it. What would you call this one? It's painting number 666 for me. Okay, we're gonna take this 1-inch brush just like this. I'm gonna come over here and just start to pull it out. See how quickly it wants to grow out to the side just with a couple little circles? That's why you need the smallest little amount of paint possible, right? Again, we're gonna leave this dark disconnect in between these two bits of color. That's our goal, right? And up here, you're like, well, what happened? There's going to be no dark disconnect. That's okay. We're going to go back and put it in. And you can go back and put yours in, right? If you do it too much, or you let a little bit too much show through, then you can always go back, fill over it, right? Color it back in with that darkness. Just leave a little area, a little line of dark. And of course, we're not going to light up the entire bit of wave. It's only really where it becomes very thin, right? As it starts to rotate over, the water squishes down, becomes very thin. And so we're able to see through it better. That's the only reason why you light it up, because it's a thinner bit of water. Man, this is one of the biggest waves I've ever painted on such a small canvas. All right, let's clean off these brushes. Remember, if this is your first Paint with Josh video, or you've just scrolled to this point, or you've just tuned in, make sure you tell me where you're watching from and what's your favorite sandwich. Are you watching from Philly and your favorite sandwich is a meatball sub or a Philly cheesesteak? Like, what's your deal? You like a Jimmy John sandwich? Subway your thing? You like an Italian? What's your favorite sandwich? Hit me in the comments. I love to know your guys' sandwiches. I go through the comments and when I'm responding, I can only reach so many people anymore. I used to be able to respond to everybody, and now we've kind of exploded, and I can't reach as many people as I want to. So now I have to cut back on how much we're responding. Otherwise, it's just all day long. I'm back and forth, back and forth. Never get anything done. Excellent. Leave all those cool little things. Now watch, we're going to take our 1-inch brush like this. Just a cool little bit of 1-inch brush, and very lightly, because I don't want it to grow, right? We don't want it to touch back there. Just want to soften it so little. and leave those little differences in there. They're cool little bits of reflection on the water. Some sort of something very neat. Don't have to mess with it too much more than that. Okay, we're gonna grab a palette knife just like this. I use the BobRoss ones. I've painted mine black so that it's not so glary, right? It's not a mirror, but you don't need one of these. You can have one of the plastic ones. I think, do I still have one of the plastic ones? I thought I did. I thought I found my original plastic knife that I very first used when I very first started painting, and I was gonna start using it again just to be funny. So, but you don't need a big old metal one or an expensive metal one. You can use the plastic ones that come in the kit. That's the point of the story. Use those plastic knives. They worked better for me initially than the metal knife did, right? And then one day I was like, look, Josh, you gotta force yourself to learn, you know, the actual tool versus a plastic tool. Like, yeah. And I always tell you guys, you don't have to use these, right? You can use a butter knife or whatever works easiest for you. That's what you should use. So as you can see, we've taken the blue and the crimson and the black, and we've mixed it up into this very dark color pile of paint, right? Really mix it in there. You don't want to have too many of your colors shine through. Don't want a really bright spot of crimson showing through, unmixed, right? Now we're gonna go back. We're gonna grab that same old fan brush. We're gonna go into the dark color. We're gonna get it on the whole brush, but just the end, right? You don't need to use the entire, you don't want to fill up all of this stuff, right? Just the end, just a few bristles at the end. We're gonna come back here and we're gonna start to kind of feed it upwards, pushing it up into the, underneath that white water, right? So as we go, we're gonna start slapping at it, and we're just gonna slap, 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 right? And you start to see all these cool little things start to build in your wave. And our focus is not to cover all of those cool little things, right? And so we come down here and you make that S-shaped turn, right? So if we had it up here just like this, it'd be a little S. That's where you want that S. That's your correct rotation, right? If your rotation isn't right, let's put a little bit of that darkness back underneath there. And you can always blend it out if you don't like it, but it's helping the water rotate over, right? So you gotta have that S-shaped curve. Otherwise it may look like your water is crashing down too soon on itself or shooting too far off. You know what I mean? It's all gotta look correct, right? Even though we use crazy colors and you know, fantasy type stuff, it's still perspectively and kind of realistic as far as how the water would act, how it would move, you know, at least when you're painting with Josh, right? That's the fun part. Now, we're down into that brown section, right? There is no more red in here, so anything that we add is gonna be this very cool mixed up bit of foamy brown. It's gonna be excellent. Ah, it's fantastic. All right, watch this. We're gonna change the angle of our wave just by kind of thickening that shadow. Watch this. And come in here. That's all you really need, right? All this is foam. It doesn't need to be nice or you know, neat. It's supposed to be a big old sloppy, splotchy mess. And that's how you gotta have it, right? And I take my 1-inch brush and I'm just very lightly gonna mix in underneath that line, just so it creates that dark separator. There we go. Just blends it in a little bit better, right? Go from that dark red into our darkish purplish color, and it starts to rotate over. Very cool. Now let's try doing this first. Let's grab our liner brush with no paint on it, nothing at all. We're gonna grab some of this shadow and we're gonna kind of twist and rotate and go backwards, right? You have to go back. You can't just come straight down. You can't shoot down at a 45-degree angle. You must go backwards first before you start to rotate. And that helps give your wave a couple little eyes. Veins in its eye anyway. But it helps make it round, right? You're going around. And these ones back here, we don't make them the same rotation or the same shape because maybe only a little bit of that is showing from underneath and it's all on top, right? We never see all of the water. You never see all of the painting. So make sure your lines are right. Just a few little veins over the eye, a couple little shadows, all you need. Wash that brush off because we're gonna use it. All right, let's go into our BobRoss liquid white. If you don't know what liquid white is, it looks just like this. Right? This is BobRoss liquid white. It's very runny, very watery compared to the titanium white that we use that's very firm, right? That stuff's very firm, and this stuff is so watery. It's perfect. It comes off of your brush nicely. You don't have to push very hard, and it'll stick on top of all of that thick oil paint because it's a much thinner paint. It's lovely. All right, we're gonna take a little bit of that. I'm gonna come back here as well and just kind of highlight these little bits, staying into that little bit of color back there. Oh yes. Right, doesn't have to be the most perfect thing. I want it to be blobby in some areas. That's water. That's water for you. It's not gonna be the most straight up line or anything like that. Gorgeous. Gorgeous. Love it. Man, this one's turning out good. Okay, now we're gonna go back into that liquid white because as I said, it's very watery and that's going to help thin our light colors down. Let's throw a little bit of the phthalo green in there too. Just because now you can see it's not really mixing very well. Watch this. There we go. You want it to have that bit of watery texture to it. It can't be the original thickness of the oil paint. So get it in there, get your liquid white, come back in here, and just above our shadows, right? Didn't go directly onto it, going above it. And maybe just a flick above the tip top of the wave. And that helps give it some depth just right there on its own. Right, again, staying about halfway up, and we're just popping in. Whatever comes off the brush, leave it. You don't have to cover up your whole bit of shadow, right? Maybe turn our brush now. Look at all the dark color that it's picking up onto the corner over there. So now we have this corner, maybe we'll go over here. Look at the difference in that bit of texture in the paint, right? So then we can come back over here and dab it again. Flip the brush over. Start using all that brand new paint that really wants to come off. Bang, just like that. Right? Don't go down too far though. You really don't want to go down too far. And then we're gonna take and mix all that up, and then it'll look like a very watery looking cloud, right? And take our 1-inch brush like this. We're definitely not gonna start up there and start doing it. That would be bad. It's only where our water is about to hit down here, right? So say we grabbed it down in here. It just came down, just hit the ground. It's about to shoot out every which way possible. Now with this liquid white, it's going to want to go away very, very, very quickly. Okay, so you have to have such a light touch, light amount of pressure, and don't get rid of every single piece of watery detail, right? Every little bit of splash you don't have to get rid of. All right, you can even come back in and add in a few more. And then you can go mix those guys out. All depends on what you want it to look like, right? So we'll come down in here. Oh, Bailey must be home. Come down in here and just mix up a few little bits, right? Different little things. What's happening? Who knows? Maybe we hit right down there just by pulling out at a downward angle, right? From wherever you think it hit, down and away, right? Now watch, we're gonna take a little bit of blue just so we can have a little bit of shadow back in here. Start that blue. Bang, can you see what I'm talking about now? Can you see? Can you see? Remember, you're gonna be able to name this painting very soon. So come up with the names. What would you name it? Drop your name in the comments, and I'm going to choose at the end, and I might just choose your name for the painting, right? Since we got the color on the brush right here, let's just add a little bit of difference in there. Very cool. Just a small little amount of beach. That's about all the wet sand we're going to have because this wave is so ginormous. Just ginormous. All right, remember, if this is your first Paint with Josh video, or you just tuned in, or you just scrolled to this point, remember, make sure you're tapping the screen, or you've given me a thumbs up, and you tell us, where are you watching from? What's your favorite sandwich? Use that food emoji, and tell us the favorite food that you like the best, right? I mean, out of all the emojis, gotta be the burger emoji for me, or the pizza one. You would, pizza or burger, definitely. Okay, let's scrape up, we'll clean up all this mess right here. Let's scrape all that up. I'll put it over there. We may use it later. Let's just pull the white out just by itself. And that way that white will blend in with whatever other colors we have in here and it'll look like foam. Be very cool. All right, we're gonna take it like this. Just again, on the tip of the brush. You don't have to go all the way down to the metal, right? You're not trying to get it onto our fingers down here. Just the tip, all right? We'll come back in here and we need to start deciding what our wave looks like. But before, please, before you just go straight up, please, you gotta go back a little bit. feed it back first, right? Decide where you want your little bit of stuff. Just straight lines, back first, okay? Feeding it back. Now you can decide to come in with the same brush, haven't added any paint to it. Now we're gonna start to come in and we're gonna start to curl up. But I don't want the eye and the foam to touch each other, right? That's not what we want. And we'll come back over here. And as we come up, we go a little bit further. And we've changed our direction, right? We're not curling up. Now we're starting to go more out to the side. And as we go more and more and more and more until we're near horizontal, right? And that's how you start to shape your wave. Right, now we're gonna come back here. We're gonna start to grow it out to the front. Now we can decide, where do we really want the beach? Where do we want our wave? How is it gonna look the best? So we're gonna come back in, maybe get a little bit of that yellow, maybe a little bit of the red, and then mix those guys up over here, and then come back in. Oh yes, a little bit of that red in there. Just in different areas though, right? Because I don't want them to all be the same. You gotta have those little differences, different little things. It's not supposed to be like a blood red sea. You know what I mean. You know what I mean. Right? A little bit of white to brighten it up. Again, differences, leaving different areas. So it's not all the same. If it's all the same, then you're not gonna notice anything different, right? So a little bit of white, dropped in a streak here, streak there. Make sure our line's nice and straight. And all of a sudden you got a very cool little bit of wave, right? And very light pressure start to curl this guy. Very, very, very light. See how we're coming in and lining up with our little shadowy flicks that we're coming down. Very light. And again, the further you go this way, the more we're rotating, making that thing look like it's round. Right? Rolling up. Again, try not to let your foam and your eye meet like I did. It just gets so fun. You're just like, oh, I can see it, I can do it. Very cool. All right, maybe we're gonna come in here, and what we'll do is grab a little bit of that dark color and just scrape in a couple little sideways pulls, right? It's like a little hole in the foam, just to see what it looks like. You could always go back and fix it, right? Just little differences. You start to feed it up, little shadows, little things. I never like it to all be the same, right? So cool little things. Maybe end up being a shadow for something else or a little bit of foam. And if you don't like it, you can go back over and cover it with white. And it goes away just like that. So let's come back in here, grab up the rest of that liquid white we can get. And who knows, we'll come back over to this lightish, greenish, bluish pile. Very wet. There we go. You get all that liquid white and mix it all up in there. It becomes very wet like water. Then we're gonna scrape through, right? Don't need a whole lot. Come decide where you want your, oh, look at that bright blue. Right, scrape it back. Cool little things, different little things. Don't cover up everything, right? Never like it to all be exactly the same. And then as we come out here, you can start feeding it up your wave. It's kind of difficult down where the wave starts to rotate. But out here, you can feed some of that foam, and it's just, imagine it sitting up on top of the water. It's gorgeous, right? These guys come down, and they go up, and they slide. Look at all those differences in color back in there. Fantastic. All right, this one's so textured, it's gonna take 2 weeks to dry. There we go. Look at these little bits of white, little bits of foam, little bits of a mess, right? That's what the water is, especially the water with the foam. It's all a mess. There we go. Now let's wash that brush off. I want to have it nice and clean. I don't think that brush will ever be not orangish red. There we go. A little bit of our liquid white. Come back in here. Add a few little taps, couple little things, little highlight here, little shadow over there. Something. Right? Making it different. What does yours look like? Right? Everybody knows my favorite ones to paint are these couple little drops. Couple little drops of water that are about to come down and hit first, right? Or they just shot out from underneath, from inside the wave. Very cool. All right, let's come in here. We're gonna have that white paint. And let's go into the yellow. See if we can get a different color in here. Have our yellow just on the one side, yellow with the white, and then come in and leave a little, like 1/8 of an inch, 1/4 of an inch, a little bit of line underneath our color, right? Don't want them to touch. Definitely don't want them to touch. That's a pretty looking sandy beach right there. Now we're gonna come back, take our 2-inch brush, nice and dry. We haven't used it in a long old time. We're gonna come in here and just start pulling it down, but remember, don't touch that other bit of white, right? Leave that dark separation in there. Otherwise, we're gonna have to go back and put it in. It becomes a pain in the, look at that, just from one little flick, just how quickly all that white starts to come down, right? Now, this is the #1 thing I see beginners do, and then they leave it, right? It's kind of incorrect if you ask me. I mean, there are no mistakes, but #1 mistake is you leave your sand looking like this, and that sort of looks like an aurora borealis to me versus wet sand, right? So you take that same brush, just swipe it out sideways. Look at the difference in these things. Look at that difference. Wet sand, aurora borealis, right? Not the same. Now, when we come up here, very lightly flicking it back into that water so it's not, too wet on the brush. Come down in there with our little flicks, and as long as you have that little dark separator under there, that's the shadow for this little bit of rolling foam as it's coming in, right? Very, very cool. I like this one. Painting number 666. Woo! Looking neat. All right, I'm gonna get a little contrail way off in the distance out here. Maybe it came shooting out from right there. Right, a little thing. Doesn't have to be too long because it's gonna grow with our brush. All right, take a clean, dry brush. I'm gonna swipe it 2 times this way, 1 long swipe that way, right? Just to soften it, just like that. 2 times, 1 long. And you get this very cool little contrail out there. Very neat. Some people call it a chemtrail. I call it a contrail because it's whatever you believe, right? No conspiracies around here. A couple little circles just to make it soft, right where it's coming out of that cloud. Very cool. Very cool. Very cool. So you can even change the direction of it just by moving it. That's what's so neat about the oil paints. They move like crazy. Let's see. I think just way off in the distance, maybe we had like a little teeny tiny moon. If we can just make a moon out there. Maybe way out here. So we're going to take a little bit of pink and white on the brush. We're going to come out here, pop it right in there, and then we're going to rotate to the left. It's just easier for my brush to go to the left. Right, just like that. Let it spin and rotate. Get this very cool little moon out there. Grab a little bit more paint. Fill in the side, that little center hole where you're pushing too hard. There we go. Very neat, just like that. Very cool. And then the bigger you want it, right? Say you need it a little bit bigger, you messed it up the smallest bit, and you're just unhappy with it. The more you push in with those bristles, the bigger it will become. Right? So let them rotate, let them spin out. And it also helps mix your moon as well. You get this very cool little thing out there. Just in a few seconds, paint the perfect moon. Just a perfect old moon out there. Now all that brightness is lighting up our wave, making it really cool. I like that. That is a neat painting. So let's see. That was not too much time at all. Let's do this. Okay, just for the tutorial, we're gonna come back with that 1-inch brush and just so lightly start to swipe up, just softening it, just the littlest, teeniest bit. You don't even have to do this part really. I just like having my style is like a little textury, little soft. Just a little bit of something. Right, very cool. Very, very cool. So remember, come up with a name for this painting. What would you name it? I'm about to go through the comments right now. And we'll see what kind of names we got. Hit us with some names. What do we got in the comments? Firstly, what do you think of this painting? Secondly, hit us with some names.
I think this painting is amazing. I think everybody in the chat here thinks this is amazing. You have got oodles of name suggestions. So my request is if everybody that is here has made a name suggestion, please drop them right now so that I can read them off for him.
Even if you think your name suggestion might not be chosen, it could. It could. There we go. A couple little dabs, little flicks. Whatever platform you're watching on right now, comment, what would you want the name to be for this painting? And then we're going to go through, Crystal's going to read them off, and then we're going to choose one. And again, you can buy this painting. It's available for sale right now in the old Etsy shop. And just when you go over there, search for painting 666 and you will find it. I'm going to take a little bit of that brown and crimson in our purpley mixture, mix it up. I think this needs like it needs some sort of rock over here or something over here. It just needs something. Some sort of there we go. It needs a little adjustment. All right, Crystal, hit us with those names.
All right. You've got Mars Apocalypse, Return of Epicurus, Satan's Fury, Red Bliss, Morning Star, 666 Devil's Wave,
Ooh.
Aurora, Red Moon Sea Knight, Satan's Pool, Sapphire, Amber Waves, Crimson Tide, Devil's Wave, Red Bliss, Exodus, Infernando, The Seas of Mercury, Last Days, Angel of Darkness,
Ooh.
Red Moon Night Sea, The Swell, Dead Sea, Devil's Wave, Twilight, Ruby's Vengeance, Red Sea of Northern Lights, Satan's Fury, Kaleidoscope Sea, Devil's Wave, Sea Crab. That might have been a suggestion for a sea crab. Last Days. Sorry, I'm getting multiples of the same ones. I'm trying to. Midnight Velvet, Crimson Tide, The Blood Red Sea, Devil's Curl, Finding Night, America's Fate.
That's funny.
The Wavy Storm, Nightly Waves, Summer Night, Persephone's Vengeance.
I like these titles, you guys. You guys have been practicing on your titles.
Pink Night, Rose Color Wave.
I think you guys have been practicing your
Yes,
titles.
Majesty Abounds. I think we have a bunch of people here who have a huge affinity for all things dark.
Ooh, I like that. We may have to do more dark paintings like this. We'll just keep repainting painting number 666.
Hey, yeah, there you go. 666 paintings of 666.
Yeah, right. Taking a few little bits of highlight, different things up into our wave. Right, you gotta get those little bits of white foam as well. There we go.
We have the Phoenix Sea. I'm trying to find ones that I haven't read off, guys. I'm so sorry. Sunset Storm.
I like them all.
Crashing Dusk. And earlier on, you had like apocalyptic, like Hellstorm. You had anything in reference to Red Sea, lake, or ocean. Satan's lake, hell, or ocean. I was trying to keep up with them.
Right.
Lucifer's lake, Lucifer's return.
Well, I sort of had an idea about...
So many. They've been going since you started.
I sort of had an idea about what I wanted to name it, and I was hoping somebody else would say the same thing. And I know that if he was watching here, if it wasn't so early in the morning in Ireland, because he was the person that gave me the title that I wanted to use, Mark Anderson, Mr. Anderson. He wanted to call it Devil's Tide, which I really like. So I know somebody said, like, Devil's something and then something tide, and I was like, ooh, if you would have combined those two right there. The Devil's Tide. Painting number 600.
Shores of Hell.
Ooh, I like that
I
too.
scrolled back up to the top, see if I could find some of these earlier comments.
There we go. Like how we go over it and just mix them slightly. That way you can't tell, is it a bit of foam? Is it a bit of this? Is it a bit of that? What is happening back there? Woo! That is fire.
Dead Sea, Mars Apocalypse. Anybody that is currently watching, we have 150 viewers. Please go over to paintwithjosh.etsy.com if you would like to purchase this painting before he ends the live. What's the sale, Josh?
So I have a 50% off sale going on in my store for this next week because of my daughter's birthday coming up and I need to afford some gifts. So yes, if you could please go over to paintwithjosh.etsy.com. All the canvases are 50% off. You can probably get a canvas this size for about $80, depending on when it was made and you know how much detail it has in it and just how much I love it. So, but yeah, we've got tons of paintings over there, more than 100. There's like 107 paintings, something crazy like that.
Crimson's Midnight, Ruby's Revenge, Amber Waves, Devil's Playground.
I like that.
Majestic Fairy Breeze. Sorry, the toddler is getting her 2 cents in. Triton's Revenge.
She's like, I want to name it. There we go. A little bit of dark paint down there. And then we'll take our little brush just to make it soft, pull it out. Right, have it blend in, push that little bit of water back maybe. Or maybe we grab our little bit of white water and we come around the front of it. Right, like it's just been sucked in to the wave. All what you want to do, right?
Mercurial's Madness. I really like that one. Not my painting, but I really like that one.
That's very true. Look at that. A little bit of white, a little bit of that mixing. Don't want to highlight every single thing, right? Leave some dark areas back in there. Let's come in with our red. Really let them blend in together. Oh, yeah. Oh, it's like a little blood cliff. Very cool.
If everyone can give us a quick 1-minute power tap on the screen, Josh is almost to 30,000 likes. It would be really awesome if we could get him over that threshold.
There we go, guys. I like that.
Scarlet Tide, Edward's Ocean, Red Wave Rider.
Red Wave Rider. I like that one too. A little bit of our darker color back in here. Really help feed those shadows.
I'll say Heresy Lake. It's the 6th circle of HE double hockey sticks.
Ah. Oh yeah, that's good right there. Right, gotta have those dark spots. Gotta have them. All right, well guys, let's throw the old Josh Hancock on there. And we'll turn this thing around and sign it and name it. It's gonna be really cool. Let's go down here, right into the little bit of rock. Small little guy.
Did you get the birds or are you leaving them out of this one?
Oh, they're there. They're there.
Oh, I can barely see them. I was so busy power tapping earlier, I must have missed that.
Yep, they are there for sure. They never get missed. There we go. Small little bits of detail are the big key, right? So much to look at in this painting. It's fantastic. All right, let's put this old guy over here. We'll do the sign off real quick and then we'll turn around and name it. So, can't wait to man, I'm just all over the place today. Here we go. You gotta do it with a drop. Here we go. Well, guys, I can't wait to see your version of this painting. Turned out fantastic. And, you know, send them over to Facebook. This is horrible. Why do I sound so terrible tonight? Okay, here we go. Well, guys, I can't wait to see your version of this painting. This one came out fantastic. And why, Josh? Why am I so dirty now? What happened? What's going on? What is going on, Crystal, with these bloopers already? Already with the bloopers.
I don't know. Maybe it's time for a parody.
No. You just want me to sing all the time. There we go. Very cool.
I mean, honestly, you do the parody, and I feel like you get the jitters out, and then you're good to go.
All right, let's do this. Here we go. Ready? Well, guys, this one turned out fantastic. I can't wait to see your version of it. Make sure you send it in over to facebook.com/paintwithjosh. And until I see you guys again next time, take care. Have the rest of a good day. And ba-bow! Get them out of here. Ba-boom. Hi, welcome back to Paint with Josh. It's Wednesday. It's the best day of the week because that's when the new tutorials come out. And obviously number 666 piqued your interest. The Devil's Tide, right? You're obviously excited about painting this one. So check the description down below. Make sure you get all the colors you need. Make sure you get your canvas nice and wet. Get ready to throw some paint on it. We're going to do it just like this. Hi guys, welcome back to Paint with Josh. Today we did a gorgeous 16 by 20 inch Red Devil's Tide for painting number 666. It turned out fantastic, and obviously you think so as well. So check the description down below. Make sure you get all the colors you need. Make sure you get your canvas nice and wet. Get ready to throw some paint on it. We're gonna do it just like this. Hey guys, back in the studio again. You are looking fantastic. What have you done with your hair? It's amazing. How am I supposed to concentrate with you up here looking like this, right? Forget about you though. Let's do this 16 by 20 inch painting called the Devil's Tide, painting number 666. I know you're excited about painting this one, so check the description down below. Make sure you get all the colors you need. Make sure you get your canvas nice and wet. Get ready to throw some paint on. We're gonna do it just like this. Hey guys, it's Paint with Josh back in the studio today for the Devil's Tide, painting number 666. I know you're excited about painting this one, so check the description down below. Make sure you get all the colors you need. Make sure you get your canvas nice and wet. Get ready to throw some paint on it. We're gonna do it just like this.